So I wanted to do a review on the 100% Pure Fruit Pigmented Water Foundation. It says it's full coverage and that it's a light dewy foundation. And it's in this beautiful glass packaging with feels like a plastic cap. It has like a metal look on the outside, but on the inside there's some plastic. It's a little dirty, as you can see. It does have a pump. You can see here that it's pretty liquid looking. On the back it says, dot on forehead, cheeks, nose, and chin. Blend outwards with your fingers, makeup sponge, or with a brush. And that's exactly what I do. And I'm going to demonstrate on both sides, a sponge and a brush. Also, it says this is natural, vegan, cruelty-free, gluten-free, and non-toxic. So that's great. And it's good for 6 months after opening. I got mine, I think, in late November. And it's still pretty full, and I use a lot of it. Now, this shade is a little light for me. When I got it, I thought it looked like a decent match, but when you put it on your face, it does look a bit lighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of like swatch it. Well, not swatch, but show you how it pumps out. Very liquidy. Do this, it's starting to drip a little bit, but it does dry to a really nice finish. So I already have my skin prepped. I did wash my face. I put my sunscreen moisturizer on, the Badger Active formula. I put a lot of it on, and so I have a bit of a white cast. My hair is back and I'm ready to go. So I'm just gonna take this little drop that I did and go ahead and dot it on my face. I'm gonna do this half, and here I had a little scab from something that I excessively picked. I'm just gonna dot it on this half of my face. And as you can see, I think it does like oxidize a little bit. It looks a bit darker with time. And I'm gonna go in with a brush first. So I have this very, just like some dog hair, sorry. I have 2 dogs here right now. This brush doesn't even have its brand on it anymore. I got it off of like probably eBay years ago when this idea was coming out, this artiste style brush. And it doesn't really look like much is on my face with that first pump using the brush. So now we're gonna do a second pump. I like to shake it up every time. Second pump. And I will dot it on my face as suggested in the directions, and that's what I do all the time anyway. I think that this side looks a bit more flawless, but that could just be because it was more flawless. I didn't have that big thing, but it does look like it's a bit thicker as far as coverage. It's a bit more concealed, and that's not actually the full pump yet. So I still have quite a bit on my hand, and so I'm just gonna kind of put it more towards the middle. This is so thin layer, and after it's dried, I feel like I could touch my face and it doesn't really matter that it's not gonna like smudge and transfer a whole lot. One layer on both sides. I definitely think the sponge side looks better. I do have a bit of dry patches here. And I do think that with the brush, it kind of just like pulls the skin. I can see a little bit of skin kind of like coming up, like especially around my nose where I'm a little dry right here. So I do want to do a second layer with the sponge and the brush just so you can see. So I'm gonna try patting it in this time, see if that makes it a little bit less obvious with the skin situation that I have dry skin. Yeah, I think that looks a bit better. And I haven't really exfoliated recently. Normally I'll do the little facial shavers, so that'll probably help with the application. And it's definitely now looking more full coverage when compared to the sponge side where it only had the one layer. All right, so that's the one side with the brush. Trying to cover it up. Looks full coverage, looks pretty flawless. Again, gonna just dot and pat it in. I have a mirror behind this, by the way, so I'm looking past the camera. If that looks weird, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see what I'm doing. So I do think it's actually looking like there's less coverage, and you can see that quite a bit is coming on the sponge. This is a very wet sponge. It was clean when I first used it. There was no other product. Same for the brush. So this side looks more dewy, but it could be it hasn't set yet. This side's already having like a very satiny finish. Looks a little bit shinier in the center, but that could be just my natural oils or that it hasn't dried yet. So I do want to give that a second to dry off. I still have some more. Again, I don't want to use all of this, but for the sake of 2 pumps, I will. And now that I'm doing this and really examining, it's crazy that I've used like 3 pumps before, because it's quite a lot. So far, I feel like my skin can breathe. There's a slight tackiness. I'm sorry, I dapped over here. Just habit. Gonna let you guys take a look. Sponge, where you can see there's some makeup on both sides. Definitely came off. And then the brush, not a whole lot that you can visibly see on the brush. I do think there's some right here. So this is the brush side. I do think that patting in with the brush made a difference. It made it look a bit more full coverage. The sponge side looks a little bit sheared out, but a bit more natural. I'd say that with the brush, it's not cakey or anything, but you can see a little bit more that there's some makeup there. Where with the sponge, it definitely looks more natural. It's a bit lighter in coverage as well. So that's what we're looking at. I do want to do the rest of my makeup off camera, and then I'll just go ahead and go about my day and check in and let you guys know how it held up. Now, like I said, I've been using this for about 3 months now, and I can honestly say that it holds up pretty well. I don't typically do anything crazy though. I'm not like out dancing or sweating. Right now we're in the middle of winter. But before I let you guys go and check in later, I do want to go ahead and just show you how it looks transfer wise. I'll use the bottom of this first. It's still damp, so it won't be absorbing a whole lot. So you can see it's clean at the bottom. I'm gonna use this half for this side. Not a whole lot came off, and I did pretty hard puffs. And so second side, not a lot came off, so that's really good. It's definitely already set. I've given this some time to dry. I'll finish my makeup and just check in, let you guys see how it looks. Okay, so my makeup is done. All I did was use an Au Naturel translucent powder all over my face because I didn't want to affect any of the coverage from the foundation, this guy here. So I just did one little swipe in there with my brush and just patted it in. No baking, nothing like that. And then as you can see, it's pretty much the coverage just from this guy. And I'll show you up close. Again, this is the sponge side, brush side. This is my favorite foundation. Like I said, I've tried quite a few, but I just think this one looks the most natural. I find that with non-toxic, natural eco foundations, they look kind of thick on the skin, or they feel kind of thick on the skin, and I just don't like the feeling. This one's super light. I feel like you can touch it, and I mean, from what I can see, there's nothing on my hand, but it doesn't look like it dragged anything off either. And I do have like, some texture on my skin, but I don't think it's overly accentuated, especially in the areas where it is just the foundation. I think those look really smooth. I think it looks really nice, really glowy. Not really glowy, it's like satiny, but there's still a natural glow to my face. It's not matte, I don't look two-dimensional. Definitely love the way it looks. The only thing that does get me, and this is why I typically don't put it on my eyelids, is it does crease right here. I think if you have mature skin, if you're not setting it, it will kind of get into those lines. But other than that, right now, this is what we're working with, and I will check in. I'm gonna have lunch and then just hang out with the dogs, and I'll let you know how it's holding up. It is now, I'm back. It is now 3:22, so 5 hours with the makeup on. I did eat. I haven't refreshed anything. I haven't touched my face. Well, I've touched my face probably a lot because I actually watched TV and then I fell asleep. So I definitely fell asleep on both sides of my face. Like I moved. My face is on my hand, not on my pillow, but on my hand that was on the pillow. But after 4 hours, I'd say it looks pretty good. I feel it a little bit more. There's a slight more of a heaviness, and around my dry patches there is a little bit of what looks like some separation. I do think that probably has more to do with me laying down and it like rubbing off, and these are typically the areas where my hand would be. So if you look like right here, sorry if you see some hair, you can kind of see. And on this side as well. Also see that there's a bit of makeup buildup on top of the lid. But again, if that's like an issue for you, like it is for me, really every foundation does that on me, and that's why, again, I say I avoid putting it there. I just pat it out and it's fine. I do want to see if with the sponge, if I can just kind of fix this. No, it actually looks like it took some off. Or yeah, so I wouldn't recommend doing it with a sponge if you wanted to fix things. And then with the brush, don't know if it's done anything at all. I feel like it kind of flattened it out, so I think it's okay to kind of just pat your face with the brush. See around the nose right here, it kind of did get all away, like it removed. Some of the product is gone now, but I still think it looks fine. You really can't tell unless you're this close with a magnifying mirror like I am. It's kind of dirty. Oops. So overall, I would say it looks really good, especially for it being natural, it being 5 hours, and it still feeling pretty light. I still feel that I could leave the house and feel really comfortable and still feel like I have myself together. Still has its skin-like appearance, like a glow from within. Final thoughts are that this is a great foundation. I'm just so happy with this one right now, and I kind of just don't want to change it. I will read a little bit about it. So this one retails for $41 US dollars, and it does come in quite a variety of shades. Oh wow, so I'm looking at the shade chart, and it looks like they're actually out of quite a few shades. If you go online, you can see the shade chart with also the undertones. The finish is said to be closer to the dewy side, and I can agree. I don't think that I look overly oily, and this isn't me having patted anything in or used powder throughout the day. This is just normal. It does say coverage is full. I think you could get it to a full coverage, but if I'm comparing it to like a normal conventional formula, I don't think you could get it to that point. Like I said, this little guy, like even when I was covering him, he was pretty well covered, but you could still see him. So I don't think you could really get it to that point. I'd say it's for normal dry skin types. I would put myself in the combination oily and dry, and it works fine for me. It says that it's healthy, it's hydrating, definitely is hydrating. Gives you full coverage and satin, slightly dewy finish for a glowing complexion. I couldn't have said it better. Formulated with hydrating aloe, protective green tea, anti-aging red wine resveratrol, and alpha lipoic acid, reparative vitamin E, skin softening superfruit oils of pomegranate and acai berries, colored from vitamin and antioxidant rich plant pigments. You see that there is some silica. I know some people don't like silica, so bear that in mind. But yeah, so I would definitely recommend this. It's beautiful. I love it. It's literally my child. It's my baby, and I do foresee myself using this for a long time. 2019, this is my favorite. Let me know what you think. Which side did you think looked better when I applied? And also, have you tried this foundation and what was your experience like? I'm always open to trying new things, and I like to put my dollar towards the best investment and making sure it's going to be something that makes me feel confident in my skin. Right. See you next time.